Hi, this is Lori from GLP-1 Journey in Review. Today we're doing a video in my interview series where we talk to people about their weight loss experience. Today we have with us Neil, who was with us before, so this is kind of a follow-up. Neil is also a content creator. His channel, My Life's Toil, will be linked down below in the description. So when you're done with this video, please hop over to his channel and like and subscribe. It really does help. I want to remind everybody that I am not a healthcare provider. My guest is not. This is just what works for us. This is our opinion of stuff. This is not a political channel, so please don't take it as such. But when something that has to do with politics comes up in current events, we may talk about it. So, all that being said, Neil, why don't you introduce yourself again?
Well, hi, Laurie. It's nice to meet you again. Thank you for having me on. I'm Neil. I'm 52 and I have been using weight loss jabs to help me lose weight for just on 6 months now. It's been a good journey. There's been ups and downs, but I've been sharing my experiences online and built up a nice little community. We've got a really nice community of people on My Life's Toil. Everyone that takes part, yeah, we all get involved and we like to advise each other and try and calm each other down when things like this happen with the price hike expectations that's happening in the UK, which I believe we're going to be talking about today.
Yes. First, I want to get an update on your, I know you don't like to use the word journey, but your weight loss journey.
I have been using the word journey. I've just owned it now because,
Mm.
that started because people were saying, "Well, I hate the word journey," and it was from other people mentioning it to me. So, when you try and avoid certain words when you're putting content out there, but
Mm.
in the end, you just own them, don't you? It's just like it's the best fitting word. So yeah, um, but it's going well. I'm literally about 4 or 5 pounds off my main end target weight, so it's
Oh,
gone really well for me.
great.
So not quite there yet, but times in the past when I've been on other diets as such, I would have been like, oh, that's close enough. But I think because the channel keeps me so motivated and being able to put exactly what I'm doing out there, and it's been followed with surprising interest from other people, which is really nice. It really keeps me going. And I think it would be really beneficial to actually go the whole hog and actually achieve the target weight rather than just, oh, that's close enough. That'll do me. Let's hit those numbers to show basically that it can be done.
So, since the last time, I believe you're now dose splitting because of side effects. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. I'm still on a fairly low dose. So I recently went up to 7.5s, but I split that dose, 2 jabs a week, 3.75. And crossing my fingers and touching wood, it's working really well for me.
And your pens in the UK have multiple doses in it, which allows that. And if I'm not mistaken, it's what, 30 clicks for a half a dose?
That's right. Yeah, on a 7.5 milligram pen, 30 clicks, it's 60 clicks for a full dose, isn't it? And 30 for the half dose. There's people that they'll have higher dose pens that will click even less, so they get less actual volume of the medication, but the particular strengths that they want as well, which is something with what we're going to talk about today. People are really looking towards if they
Hmm.
can get hold of pens, which is going to be another issue by the looks of things
Right.
over here in the UK.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Fatoldclimber on his site has a calculator that you put in your
Yes, I
dose and
have
what you
seen.
want.
Yeah, that is really good.
So,
I have actually used that myself, and he's another one of the channels that I do follow. He's really good. Can't remember
mhm,
his name. Never spoke to him, but his
right,
knowledge is really good, and the way he comes across is
right.
good.
He's
And
going
he
to be
develops
interviewed next month on my channel, I believe, or early October, I think.
fantastic. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I'll certainly watch out for that one as well, then, because yeah, some really good advice like yourself. And it's one sort of quite inspiring. It's nice to see what can be done when if you'd have seen me at the start of my journey. even myself, I would not have envisaged how much better I feel with the weight loss, how much more energy I have. And I don't want to sound like that person, but I do feel that my appearance is better as well. I'll never be
Absolutely.
handsome, but it's acceptable.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty about with less than 2 weeks, Eli Lilly announced that they were going to raise the prices anywhere up to 170% in the UK. Do I have that correct?
That's what was reported over here. Yes, yeah. As long as
Fortunately, from what's come out, it hasn't quite been 170%.
no, initially, many of the companies, the providers, the prescribers, were being fairly honest in saying they aren't sure exactly what those price hikes
Hmm.
are going to be, but this is what they anticipate. Quite early on, a few of the providers were coming up with predicted price lists that usually when price lists come out that early, they tend to stick to them, and they were quite elevated, I think, from what I recall. Whereas the ones that sort of hung back a little bit and are now more able to give a more accurate sort of prediction of what the prices are going to be don't seem to be as inflated as what the original people were saying their prices were going to be. So, but that's not necessarily the only issue now, is it? As you may have heard
No.
on UK news this morning, that there's all sorts of things going on around Mounjaro and with stocks and just providing the actual drug. There's going to be some. It's going to get a bit airy, I feel, moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And how so can you explain?
Yeah, so the talk on the news only this morning has been that that sales of Mounjaro to stockists in the UK is going to be temporarily paused or postponed, or however it is. Some people saying, sort of using words like cancelled, and are we going to be able to get any at all? And this sort of has been blamed, or not necessarily blamed, but basically proportioned to the fact that because the NHS over here is making Mounjaro tirzepatide more available prescription wise, which it already has been, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
more known about now, so more people are demanding it. Not every doctor over here in primary care, which is your like physician level,
Mm-hmm.
is going with the plans, but some still are, although they're coming away from the national guidelines of who can have it and making the guidelines more tougher to fit people that are at the extreme end of obesity when it's for
Mm-hmm.
that side of things. Obviously, diabetics, which is the concern for me, will possibly struggle to get prescriptions for people that are
Mm-hmm.
actually on it for that side of things. That's my concern there, but also still the concern about people that are on that are buying it as well, because they're talking about a lot of our providers are suggesting that we move to semaglutide, which we call
Mm-hmm.
Wegovy over here,
Right.
which I've been talking about on my channel a little bit and investigating how that may, not saying will work, but may work for some people, because a lot of people that are on Mounjaro have been on Wegovy and sort of progressed onto Mounjaro because it works better. But no, going back to the concerns here, if things do stall in way of getting just supplies over in the UK, it's going to create an already worsening stockpiling type
Right.
scenario, which sort of someone's already mentioned on my channel on the comments. It reminds us of people going out and buying toilet roll when we had the
Yes.
the COVID problems, and it has got a little bit like that. And the problem has been that we've got a lot of patients that, or people using Mounjaro, that aren't just registered with one supplier and one prescriber.
Right.
They've been with multiple, so they tend to stockpile anyway. And when this happened, those people that can and those that could afford it have been buying as much as they possibly can. But also there has been some of the suppliers that have been offering more to people, offering higher doses to people, allowing them to buy sometimes 2 or even 3 pens to stockpile, basically. So I think that's where the panic has come from, and that's why it's led to this sort of hiatus with the supply from Eli Lilly in the States.
Now, my question to people that are stockpiling, so let's say for you example, if we're on 7.5, and let's say if you got 10 pens of 15 stockpiled. So that's going to last you quite a bit. Now, when you are finished, if you're assuming you're still going to be on it, and you go back to your provider, they're going to say, "You've been off of this a long time. You have to start over." I mean, are people thinking about this, or?
I don't think there's a huge amount. I mean, I can't answer for everybody, because anyone that you would ask, they'd have their own theory and their own reasons behind why they're doing what they're doing. I actually know medical professionals that are stockpiling, that have stockpiled well before this. And when I sat down with them and actually explained, with the rate that they're using their medication, by the time they get to what they have got, it will be out of date. I mean, there's one person that I know, I think they've got about 15 boxes in their fridge, different doses. And I mean, well done to them for applying that, and it must be nice to be able to afford that many boxes of Mounjaro, even at the old prices in the UK. But I think just looking ahead, I think people didn't realize when they probably started buying it that you don't necessarily have to go all the way up to 15 milligram doses, whereas I don't think I'll be going past the 7.5 at all. In fact, because it's working well, split microdosed over the week for me, it's working as well as it is. I will be looking maybe to sort of titrate, reduce down, if anything, just to maintain, because of how close to goal weight I actually am. So,
yeah, but not everybody is near maintenance. So, a lot of them are buying the higher dose. And then again, they run out, they may have to start over, or will they even qualify? Because, in that amount of time, you could lose 30 pounds. And I don't know about in the UK, but here, if a doctor saw that you're losing and they don't see the prescription, they're like, well, you're doing fine without the medication.
this is it. But I think what the issue over here especially has been, especially on the private side of things, which, and let me just make you aware, you probably already are, that in order to, before all this happened, in order to start on Mounjaro over here, all it took was literally a message or an email to any of the supplying companies with a picture of somebody that appeared overweight, what that weight of said person was, and not even a telephone call, or let alone a face-to-face consultation with anybody, and you were on the plan. It did seem more about, well, if you're willing to pay for us, we'll give you the goods. We'll give you the goods. And people now, I feel sorry for the people that are just starting now, because it has tightened up a little. I know that people are having video consults over the internet, and it's being more scrutinized, which is right, obviously, because even people that have been in touch with the channel, you must see this, Laurie, yourself as well, that people not meeting the BMI targets that our national guidelines here have set are still being allowed to start Mounjaro. And I can understand that. I'm not dismissing or knocking that in any way, because some people, you don't have to be a BMI of 35 or more to be overweight and unfit and unhealthy. It's just a number that we set. And we all know, well, certainly over in the UK, we think BMI is really sort of antiquated now and outdated and doesn't suit everybody. But it's all we have, really. So I suppose we have to go with some guidelines. But there are people a lot less than a 30 BMI that have been accepted onto it. And it's sort of created a bit of a monster, really, moving forward, because those are the people that may be stockpiling. Not everybody is, but certainly wouldn't hit the criterion now moving forward. So it'd be, it has created a bit of an issue with the people that really probably do qualify and need to be on this medication
Mm-hmm.
and more suited to it.
Yeah, I really wish they would have given a little more than 2 weeks notice, because, people really could have thought about this a little bit better and planned a little bit better, and
Yeah.
so forth. So I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah, that was a
Uh,
big issue. I think that's most people's gripe with what's going on. Really, the fact that how quickly it was done. Maybe if they said, "Oh, from the new financial year next year, we're looking at doing this," but 2 weeks, even 2 months, may have been a bit kinder. It was almost like an ad hoc type thing. Or were they forced by the powers that be to actually no, this happens now? It's another question for another time, maybe.
Now, the world's most favorable um, Nations Act, how do you think this played a role? Because quite honestly, when that was first signed, and I know a president cannot do this alone. It was um, it also needs Congress. But when that was first announced, everybody was going, "Wow, that's great." Maybe bring down the prices in America, because we are overpaying. Us, and I think it's Australia, are paying the highest.
Yeah.
Um, we thought great, but I don't think a lot of us saw this coming, that big pharma was going to raise the prices in the other countries rather than lower the prices in America. Uh, I don't even know if President Trump saw that one coming. But then again, who would have ever thought that big pharma would do the right thing? Yeah.
Exactly. The thing is, being a private company, sort of, there's no real guidelines on pricing for them to follow. I know that some of the politicians only today in the UK have asked for an independent review and a watchdog to look into the price hikes around that. They haven't got a leg to stand on. These private companies answer to nobody at the end of the day. They have all the legal jargon that they need in place. They have their I'm trying to think of the terminology for it, but no one else can come in and make Mounjaro, not for many years yet. And that will keep going, because every time that they find a way that Mounjaro helps in health in one way, like they released, if you notice, they say, oh, it also helps with this. Oh, it helps with this as well. That will allow them to continue having the
Mhm.
license to produce it for longer before anybody can come in and take any of that from them. Although you will see, I think over there you have compounded versions that I don't know what the legalities, we don't have that here, are around that to actually create and develop and produce Mounjaro. No one else will actually be able to do that like Eli Lilly are at the moment, because of they'll drop out something else. It helps with, they'll probably say it helps with asthma as well, and that'll be like a new license for them to keep it going even longer. And I can see that happening for decades yet, the way it's going. But as for the political side of things, I mean, we don't have a leg to stand on. They answer to no one. We did a similar thing with the supermarket chains over here in the UK, just to go off on a tangent like I normally do on my channel. They may pull people in front of the Houses of Parliament, and literally they'll have the CEOs of these big companies like your Walmarts, your Tesco's, your Asda's, and they say you're making billions of pounds from people struggling that can hardly put food on the table. And they'll be, yes, we are. Basically, what are you going to do about it? This is business. And that's exactly the same for Lilly. They're in business. They're happy for us to think that it's a political thing, whereas really it's like, no, we're just raising the prices because the NHS have got a contract with us now. We need to create more. And if we're creating more, we're working harder, we can sell it for what we like.
Well, I know here in the United States, I forget what state off the top of my head, but they're trying to be able to create a generic, because it'll save the state so much money versus having to pay Eli Lilly. How successful they're going to be, I don't know. I mean, I know there's certain acts that we have, uh, where if we could say that it's for the best thing for the country, that you could override patents. I mean, there are things that the United States is trying to do to bring down the prices. I don't know if that'll reflect on the UK, but we'll see.
That's interesting. Be interesting to see how that pans out. Actually, be close one to watch, I think. So yeah, that'd be interesting.
there is some stuff happening.
Yeah,
Now, as far as switching over to Wegovy, you know, that's not the worst thing in the world. It may slow people down a little bit, but at least it's an affordable option, and it won't have people's journeys come to an end. But my question is, how long do you think it's going to take Novo Nordisk to say, Eli Lilly raised the prices, and they're doing. Why can't we?
that's the sad thing about it, because it's not a case of will they do that, it's when will they do that, isn't it? Really, we all know that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I touched upon this. I've sort of touched upon this on my last couple of episodes on my life's toil, because I was surprised to find out. Now, it was interesting how you mentioned that the prices in Mounjaro in Australia as well as the US, because just happened to be talking to my younger brother who's a paramedic over in Australia. He moved over there about 9-10 months ago, and he just happened to drop out in one of our sort of monthly catch-ups that he started weight loss injections, and it was Wegovy that was available in Australia, and the other
Hmm.
one he had considered was Mounjaro, but he said Mounjaro is just too expensive here. And he mentioned how much it was, and it was on par with America. And, and I was like, I can't believe this, because of everything that had just happened a couple of weeks ago here about Mounjaro. And I said, how are we finding it? And I said, stop right there. I said, would you be happy for me to interview you to show people over here exactly how it might work for them? And so we did that, and I did that the weekend and put that out, and I was really, it was almost meant to happen, really. And it's
Hmm.
and it's helping a lot of people. I'm seeing that some people that have been there with Wegovy, where it doesn't quite work for them. I've even had people reporting that it actually made people feel more hungry, which is totally the opposite to how it's supposed to work. And then other people just feel, having an option, something to try. Because you probably had the same as me, the amount of comments and messages I had back on that morning when that news came out about the price hikes, 170% going up. People just thinking, that's me done. That's the end of my journey. And I immediately put something out and say, let's not panic until we know what we're
Hmm.
panicking about, because we still don't know all the price hikes. We're getting a clearer picture now. And those price hikes aren't quite as bad as what was first
Hmm.
predicted. But that's not the concern, as we've spoke about. That the concern at the moment is, are we going to even get it? So it is looking like Wegovy could be the option moving forward for not all, but maybe most of us. Or it is an option. It's not just a sudden stop. It's something that we can consider.
And just late this week, Eli Lilly has actually asked the FDA to authorize orforglipron, which hopefully will be out later this year.
Yes.
And again, that should be cheaper because there's no refrigeration. It is a pill, not quite as effective. I haven't read all the research as far as side effects, but from what I'm hearing, doesn't have as many as the Wegovy. So, that will be an option hopefully within the next 4 or 5 months, because I know that it's
Yeah.
kind of sped up the authorization. So, that is something to look forward to.
That is definitely, because I only read something on the news again this morning. It's all seems to be coming out today for some reason about that. You pronounced it much better than I could, because I couldn't even read it. Yeah, that's really promising, isn't it? And I think that's what we need to focus on now, especially the people that are just starting on their weight loss journeys using weight loss injections, medications. It's that there are going to be options, and it's just to hold fire. And maybe we need to kick in our willpower a little bit more, because I, like many, still highly am dependent on the effects that Mounjaro does for me. Yes, I've titrated down a little, or reduced down a little when I've felt a bit poorly, but I notice that I really have to think more about my eating habits. It's more to the mind, whereas when it's having its full effect for me, it's brilliant. Don't even have to think about it. It's just becomes part of me. But yeah, it's good to know that there are going to be options out there. Three to 4 months is what the news was reporting over
Hmm.
over there. But
Right. So, hopefully by the end of the year,
happy
beginning
Christmas.
of next year. So there is a little bit of hope. Now, I know I'm afraid for people in the UK that they're going to turn to the gray market and black market.
Yeah, yeah, that's a concern. I mentioned this straight away because I don't do a huge amount on social media. Do a little bit on Facebook, and read a little bit of Twitter, X, whatever it may be nowadays. And even I mentioned this to people about a week or so ago when I first started my injections with Mounjaro. When I first went on that, I was looking everywhere to get as much research as I could. I went to Eli Lilly, read their research, and then just looked at who was providing it and how that would work for me. And I didn't know much about it at all right at the start, which we wouldn't. And I was reading that you could get it as an injectable form or you could get it in tablet form. And these websites that were mentioned about the tablet form was so believable, and that's the problem, isn't it? This day and age, anyone can make anything look so believable and
Hmm.
so authentic that it's disturbing to see that. And I actually said that I went on a great big worldwide selling website that you probably know the one I'm talking about. It begins with A and sounds like a river
Hmm.
in South America. Um, and they had a medication, a tablet on there called Mounjaro, and it was
Okay.
so targeted as Mounjaro, but an oral version that just doesn't exist at this moment in time.
No.
That I put an order in for it and thought, right, that's me started. And it wasn't, when you put an order in on these websites sometimes, then you think, oh, I'll do the research on that particular tablet. Now I've put the order in, and it was one of them really. I'm one of the world's worst for it. And as I read about it, I'm thinking, this is just herbs and spices basically in a tablet and sort of herbal remedies. And it actually did say that if you read the small print, it wasn't hiding anything, but the way it was packaged and the way it was advertised, it would be believable. And it's still on there now. You can still go and buy it. It's not going to do you much good, but it might just make you feel closer to Mother Earth, I suppose, if you take. But it wasn't Manjaro, and I cancelled the order and luckily got my money back and went down the official route of actually looking on the government sites, really, the UK sort of nice guidelines, and did it from an actual professional sort of way of looking at medications and seeing what was available, realizing that actually you need to go to the proper prescribers, people that are licensed to actually deal with this stuff, because you're not going to be buying it from shops.
Right. Now, one thing I want to say to the people in the UK is with these GLP-1 medications, uh, in the United States, they started off between $1,200 and $1,400 for the month. They're now basically down to anywhere from $3.99 to $5.99 if you buy them from Lilly Direct or from Nova Nordisk Care. So I don't think there's a medication in the history that has gone down in price that quickly. And I think all of us people as a whole are responsible for that because it really didn't have anything to do with politicians. It had to do with us.
No, that's an achievement, though, isn't it? One for the people. Absolutely
Yes.
brilliant. Yeah, yeah,
And you have to realize that people that are overweight or obese, at least in America, that's somewhere around 60 to 65% of people. I don't know exactly what the statistics are in the UK, but they picked a really big population to have this argument with. We don't realize it, but we actually do have a lot of power because,
yeah.
we're a large number of people. So I don't want people to give up and just totally give into this. We as content creators and advocates are fighting, but we need everybody as, the overweight and obese people to join us and help us because you do not realize how powerful we are.
that is refreshing to hear, because when I saw, and I had a few comments as well, people saying, "Oh, we need to stand up to this. We need our voices to be heard." Ultimately, I was just thinking, you're up against these pharmaceutical companies. They're not in it to help people, really. Yeah, help's just
Yeah.
a bonus. It's money making. I think the profit margins for them this financial year were projected at something like 60 billion on what it
Hmm.
was initially. So Lord knows what it's going to be from the new price hikes. Although that sounds like it's being balanced out, which is only right, to be fair, isn't it? I mean, you just want to see the uniformity across the globe, don't you? Really. So I still think, looking at the projected prices, what it's going to be realistically over here, it still puts it out of target for many people, because people were right on the fringes of being able to afford it anyway. But it's still not too bad. It's I don't know the exact figures, but what I have seen from some of the companies that are releasing their new price lists now, it's not as bad as 170% for all.
Hmm.
And I don't think I've seen 170% mentioned anywhere yet, but that was just the scaremongering, and that was probably what it may have been. But at the same time, when people have been stretching themselves, and if it does price them out the market, still those are the people I feel for.
Are there any chances in the UK? I know this is private companies that people are getting their medication from, of like coupons or something, because we have that in this country. They've gotten rid of a lot of them since they've lowered it from the 1400 to the 500-ish range. But I'm just looking for ways to help people in the UK.
Yeah, we are seeing. If you was to type Mounjaro into UK websites now, it's all you don't get the guidance and research on it. It's all selling pages initially, obviously, and yeah, it's all the big suppliers, and they're all saying our prices are less than everyone else's, and your first order with us will be this much percent off. I haven't obviously looked that closely, but my problem is, at the moment, anyone that will be looking into it, I mean, because even so, this is such big news over here now. People that aren't on it and hadn't maybe thought about it would be like, their ears will be pricking up and certainly thinking about it more. But the issue is, when they do click that button to try and buy something, are they actually going to be buying something now, because stocks just aren't
Right.
going to be there? I mean, I haven't been out and stockpiled at all. I'll be totally honest with you. And I've done that on purpose, really, because if I'm in the same boat as most people, which I'm wondering if most people have actually gone out and stockpiled now, and I haven't, I might be left behind, but that's another story. But no, I just wanted to see. I haven't actually had an email from. I use a company called Checkup over. It's quite a small company, and they're part of a different. They're a branch of different companies that are pharmaceutical led. It's interesting that I haven't had the email. It usually comes 26th or 27th of the month, talking about renewing. Um, I will give it till the end of the week and see what happens. I did have one off them saying I could buy early, so that was offering, and I think I may be making this up, because I've seen that many companies offering to buy more than one, or they were offering to swap me to Wegovy at the sort of adjacent
Mhm.
dose to move forward. So that's still, like I say, I'm right at the end of my journey, and I've got decisions to make whether I will be able to continue with Mounjaro as a maintenance dose, or whether I will maintain on Wegovy. And for me, that sounds like the Wegovy option sounds like a good plan for me, because it will
Mhm.
hopefully, if it works for me, it will just be the suppressant, hopefully, that I need, and that's something I need to have a look at, really. But there's many bridges to cross between now and then, isn't there? So which way do I
Yes.
choose to go? So I think we need to see how this pans out and see what the news is on how the stocks are going to go with, and what we can get over here in the UK and in Europe as well, by the sounds of it.
Right. Now, come September 1st, or a few days after, do you think it's going to be more available? Because according to Eli Lilly, there is no shortage, and they probably do have the stock.
They probably do, but they're not going to be sending it over here, is what we're hearing today. That's the latest news articles that I've been reading only this morning. Where that goes and how that changes, I don't know. Is it just trying? The problem is, if it's an effort to try and get people to stop stockpiling it, I
Mhm.
think that will work in the opposite way. If people think, oh, they're not sending any more, I need to buy even more, I think it's more likely to go down that avenue, isn't it?
Again, here in the US, because we have Lilly Direct, they're giving that discount prices. The caveat to that deal is you have to reorder within 45 days or the price goes up to stop people from stockpiling or using a higher dose and splitting it up and making it last longer. So, I don't know how much of that, is in play or
Well, it's sensible. It's trying to encourage people to stay within their own guidelines, isn't it, really?
right.
And you can't
Yes.
knock them for that, because they know that people are buying 15 milligram pens and only having 5 milligram doses out of it. They know that's happening because people are being open on the internet about it and on
Mhm.
YouTube and social media. So I can understand why they're encouraging people to do that. But it's not going to work that way, is it? But it just means that they will make the extra money out of it, to be honest.
I think this is also going to encourage people to make sure that they are using that golden dose.
Absolutely. I think most people that I have any correspondence with now are definitely using that, because the amount of people asking, where do I get the needles from? How do I do this? Yeah, not saying it's right, but each to their own. Whatever I do, it's the old saying, do as I say, not do as I do.
So, people in the UK, other than switching to Wegovy or just wait and see, do they have any other options?
There, there are other options, but they're not being sort of. Wegovy is the only one that's really being pushed over here. The semaglutide, that's the only one that I've seen from most of the suppliers over here, and those are the only ones that tend to be mentioned. And it's the only one that I've sort of looked at really. From what you said a few moments ago, Laurie, that it is a really good point that at some point they will jump on the same sort of bandwagon and increase their prices because of the demand. Um, Maybe we do need to look at other options and to see exactly what else may be available.
Absolutely.
But I think the important thing that I just want to feel that I need to add there is that if people do need to stop their journeys and feel that they're going to go back to their own ways, I think it's just remembering that just because people have started sort of weight loss journeys and use Mounjaro now, it doesn't mean that you can't step back onto it. If it doesn't work for you being off the injections and the
Mhm.
willpower is not there, there's plenty of supports from people, support networks from people like yourself and your channel, and I'm going to do the same, because it's not just about following what we do, it's about trying to lead the healthy lifestyle, isn't it, as well?
Mhm.
People, my idea is to and I try and be as open as I can, and it's not just, I was just vlogging my journey, and it was a little bit selfish to start with. It was, I was using the channel because I knew it would keep me in line. But now that I feel that people they become dependent on what we do, and that's a heavy burden at times, isn't it? But it keeps us in
Mhm.
check as well. It keeps us in check, and I know that there's people that still watch my channel and they'll watch your channel that aren't following plan. They've come off it, but they still like that positivity that we try and
Right.
sort of go with, and that's probably a good thing. That will make me more likely that if I ever have to come off Manjaro, if I have to look elsewhere, that it will keep pushing me to try and help others as well. And and that's not me trying to be a saint or anything like that. It's just trying to do the right thing, I think.
And have you heard people wanting to, rather than take it once a week, take it once every 10 days to 2 weeks to try to stretch out their supply?
Yeah, I have, and I've heard people getting on well. Some the only ones I have heard of that are doing that are getting on well with it. There's a particular couple of people that have been doing that, and it's funny that these people, their families don't know they're even on weight loss medications, and their only outlet to actually discuss any of it is through channels like ours.
Hmm.
And but yeah, and it's worked well for them, and they're sort of, it's almost relief for them that they're taking it less often, and they're
Hmm.
depending more on will. But they admit that the sensations combat the the food cravings, the food noise, as we keep calling it, don't we?
Right.
But that, willpower and the need to sort of just feel involved in the communities like we have helps with that. So, but no, it's positive that people are able to aim towards a life after weight loss medications as well. Because let's face it, I mean, if you're diabetic, it's a drug for life, isn't it?
Right.
Or is it? Because a lot of people are going into remission from type 2
Right.
diabetes, and coming off medications altogether. But that's where willpower really kicks in. But there's a lot of people, because it's still so infant in its in its life. Mounjaro, it's been a few years, but it's with other drugs, it's still very young, isn't it? And we're still finding out new things about it all the time. But it'll be interesting to see long term how people do manage without it. But like I say, it doesn't mean that you can't go back on it in the future. Maybe
Right.
the guidelines will have to change. Do you have to go all the way to a BMI here in the UK of 40 before you'll be reconsidered again? Or will there be a point in the future where, if you've been on it and you find yourself hitting targets that you don't want to be hitting, will there be avenues to follow that you can actually pick back up and sort of use it as an ad hoc basis, or will they prefer you to be on a maintenance dose for life? It'd be an interesting one. It'd be interesting to pick the brains of the science behind it, the people that make the decisions on that, and I'm sure there's research ongoing into that as well.
Right. And I'm sure that's where our orforglipron is going to step into the market, because Eli Lilly is also talking about that for maintenance.
Yes.
And like I said, if that comes in at, let's say, $150 to $200, it's a much more affordable entry level or maintenance level, however you want to use it as. And they
Yes.
are going to have different doses of it. So, I really wasn't too aware of that at first, but they are going to have several doses of that.
That sounds really promising, doesn't it? If that could be your maintenance moving forward, just for that suppression side, which I think that's more aimed towards, isn't it, than
Hmm.
the actual
Right.
tirzepatide?
Well, they are getting 10 to 12% weight loss, similar to a little bit under Wegovy. Uh, So, I mean, it's a good place to at least start to see if GLP-1s will work for you. If you have to go off of it because of price, it's an option to continue your journey. If you're on maintenance, it's a little bit less expensive way to go on it. Again, I just want to bring, a little peace of mind to people in the UK. There are options. Don't panic. You
Yeah.
know, the, now, we all as content creators are working on it. I'm sure other people are working on it. So, let's stop the panicking and let's think about this like logic adults.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what I said on that first day, because I just woke up and my email inbox was full, my messenger was full, the comments on YouTube, and it was just widespread. Not all, but lots of panic and people saying that's me done, and that was the general feel for a lot of people. And my message to them was, well, let's panic when there's something to panic about. We don't
Right.
know exactly what we're doing yet. We don't know what. I mean, yeah, there's been another hiccup today with the talk about the stock levels, but there'll be an answer. We might have to wait a little while for it to iron out, but yeah, there'll be an answer to it at the end of the day. And there's positivity on the horizons, like with the new tablet version as well, which
Right.
that could be. I think that's when it will go boom, because the people that don't like the thought of injecting themselves will be like, "This is the one for me." I could see, that being really popular.
And again, if you can't afford the Mounjaro, there is always a Wegovy. And like I said, hopefully within about 4 months or so, or Forglipron will be out. That may bring down the prices of the other drugs. It may not. Yes, Wegovy may go up, but right now it hasn't. And, we could deal with this 1 month at a time.
Absolutely. Well said. Yeah, definitely.
Uh, I know here in the United States, when the prices were first high, and this is no lie. I actually had emails of travel packages to other countries where they also arranged for a televisit with one of their practitioners, where you could get like 3 months or so of the medication, and then fly back to your country and get a vacation out of it. Didn't necessarily save you money because of the airfare and the hotel, but it costs you the same, and you got a vacation out of it.
Wow. Now that sounds like a plan. What to do with the
So
holiday?
there are some bright sides.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's just crackers how things work out, isn't it? I mean, it just shows that the sort of money that's being bounced about with these things, doesn't it? I wonder how many people, I wonder what the numbers were like with people that have actually done that.
Like I said, I got a couple emails from travel agents on packages on that. I really should go back in my emails and ask them how that worked out. But
Yeah, book a holiday.
so, with like you were saying, with the stock prices not being quite what they are, they've tried these higher prices, and apparently, like, they're not making their shareholders happy with their profits. They should maybe try lowering the prices, get more customers, and making more money that way. An option, if Eli Lilly or Novo Nordisk, if you're listening,
Yeah. Yeah, and just take a little step back and look at the global picture. Yes, money makes the world go around, but just think about what it's doing for society in general as well. Just think about, this is like an absolute magic pill for a lot of people. Not everybody that we've talked about, but
Mhm.
the good that this can do, used correctly, knowing that if it's put out there in the right way, it can be governed properly. There's less likely people will be buying on the black market. So it's going to be safer in the long run as well. I think they need to look at those sides of things rather than just the monetary side of it and the financial gain. Unfortunately, we say these things, but I'm hearing myself saying it, knowing that, money comes first for most people.
You're talking about big pharma.
Yeah, I know. People are shouting at the computer screens listening to this now, aren't they?
Well, I appreciate your input. Do you have any closing comments?
No, just what we've said already, Laurie, really, is that we need to just stay calm, try and form, just have a look at a plan. If that even means that you may have to stop for a while, it doesn't mean that you may have to stop for good. There are going to be other options. Listen to the people out there that are talking sense, basically. Don't listen to the scaremongering, because there's going to be plenty, there's going to be options, and we'll find a way around it. We'll find a way. You don't necessarily
Maybe they
healthy.
maybe they should include a roll of toilet paper or a package of toilet paper with it for these fearmongers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I thank you for your time and appreciate it. Thank you for coming back. I just thought this was an important topic for people in the UK.
Definitely. Thank you for having me, Laurie. And it's great to have people like you clearing things like this up. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. And that's a wrap.
Fantastic. I don't